If you're interested in making the most of your money, keep listening, because today our experts are going to give you the inside info on credit cards. Welcome to another edition of the McEnulty Method. I'm your host, Bill of Ashwick, and I'm joined by financial experts Frank McEnulty and Colin Sorrells. And they're here to give you the tools you need to create the future you want. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
Good, Bill. How are you?
I'm good. Now, I understand today's topic is credit cards. And I have to say, one question I hear a lot is a young friend of mine, she just asked, what is a credit card and how is it different than a debit card?
Well, the credit card is something where the person who the credit card comes from is basically giving you the right to borrow money from them each month. Every time you use that card, you're borrowing money from them. And of course, they want it paid back. So they'll put a limit on your credit card. You know, most new credit cards come with a $500 limit, possibly maybe $1,000, depending on where you are in your career. But you're borrowing money, and if you don't pay it back immediately, they're going to charge you interest, really high interest. With a new credit card borrower, the interest is probably 25 to 30% a year, which almost sounds illegal, but it's not. Whereas a debit card, when you use a debit card, it just takes the money right out of your account. And so sort of stops you from using the debit card when you run out of money, except sometimes the financial institution with your debit card wants to make you feel like they're doing you a favor, and they give you overdraft protection. Don't worry, we won't embarrass you when you use it and you have no money. But what they do a lot of times is they charge you a really high fee for overdrafting, and then they charge you interest on top of it. So
you get it coming and going. No, I think you broke it down essentially. Debit card is spending your own money. Credit card, you're spending somebody else's money.
And debit cards have gotten better at this, but credit cards are experts at it. If somebody else gets a hold of your credit card and uses it, you just get on the phone, say, hey, American Express, I didn't make this charge. What do you mean? I said, I didn't buy a saddle for my horse because, one, I don't have a horse. And they say, okay, when was the last time you used the card? And you go, okay, well, I think I used it here. They say, yeah, that shows. We are canceling your card immediately. We are getting rid of that charge. You're not responsible for it. And we're sending you a new card in the mail. Really simple. I mean, Bill, I think you remember when we did that project in Arizona, I had to use two different credit cards at the service station because the gas tank used way over $100 worth of gas. So I used one card first and I used the other card the second time. And there was a skimmer on that pump. And those credit cards, one went east on Interstate 40, one went west on Interstate 40. And it was literally a week later I found out about this. I called both credit cards and I said, look, I didn't do this. I can, and they didn't even make me prove. I said, I can prove I wasn't in either of these places. Didn't make either of these trips. They said, no problem. We'll cancel the card, send you a new one, and cancel all these charges. And that's part of the reason for the huge interest rates. Credit card companies don't get paid back all the time, or there's these bad charges that get on them. So they have to get their money back somewhere. So that's really the big difference between the two of them. And the number one big difference is you don't build credit, as we talked about in an earlier episode, you don't build credit with a debit card. You build your credit score by properly using a credit card.
All right. Okay. Now, what if someone has never had a credit card before, but they want to start building their credit. Uh, any tips for applying for a credit card and spending or managing it responsibly?
Well, treat it like a debit card. Yeah, I'm big on that. To the extent you can, treat it like a debit card. Because Frank, you point out 25, 30. I think I celebrated when I got my interest rate under 20%. So, and I've had a credit card for 6, 7, 8 years now. So to give you an idea of where those things started. So to the extent you can, treat it like a debit card.
Well, and as to applying, I think once you hit 18, you get into the magic credit card
Everybody wants you.
database. Everybody will be sending you a credit card offer. I'm not going to accuse them of being predatory, but I personally believe that a lot of these companies sort of hope you foul up and run up your credit card and then have a hard time paying it off because they get to charge you lots of interest. It's funny, if I call somebody a deadbeat, everybody's going to say, oh, they don't pay their bills. In the credit card industry, I'm a deadbeat. Not because I pay my bills, don't pay my bills, but because I pay my bill in full every month and they don't make any extra money off me. So I'm a bad person to the credit card company. They don't like me. They still want me because they know they'll still get the merchant fees because I use credit cards a lot. So credit card companies get paid when you use your credit card at a store, they get a fee from the merchant, usually 2 to 3%. And then when you don't pay them back on time and you make the minimum payments, that's what they're really hoping for. They want that 25% interest from you. And it's crazy. So, managing it responsibly, you can't put more on the credit card than you would spend anyways. That's if you were paying cash. What bothers me in a lot of places now they won't take cash. So it's like they're sort of trying to push people into spending too much money. It's easy to spend on a credit card.
The other thing I wanted to build on was like what you said. You turn 18, you become the darling of these credit card companies. You have more offers than you know what to do with. I've never was pre-approved for more cards than when I turned 18. Stick to one. Do not fall in the trap of applying for all of them and having 3, 4, 5 different. One card that you can easily manage and stay on top of and keep track of. And you don't want multiple cards to get you in the trouble of spending more money than you have.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with Colin just a bit here.
A little bit,
because if you only have one card, then you only have so much available credit. We talked before about credit scores.
That's true.
So what I've often also found worthwhile is if you do get 2 or 3 credit cards, just so you have a bigger balance. Obviously, you don't want to go out and run them all up. You use the different cards for different things. Like, say you have a card you just use for gas. So then each month you go, oh, I spent that much on gas. And you use a different card for only going out. It's like, whoa, I spent this much money going out during the month.
It helps visualize it. We talked about that with budgeting.
Right. It helps visualize for your budget. Now, I'm not saying, go out and get 12 credit cards because that's just crazy. You're going to have a wallet or purse this thick, but part of building your credit is having available credit and not using it.
I can get behind that. Just don't, to your point, don't let it get out of control and you just have 12 credit cards and you're just spending them all. And yeah.
Well, this actually takes us right into our question of the day, which is from Desiree. And she wrote, it feels like every week I get a letter about a new credit card that I've been pre-approved for. I want to start building my credit, but I have no idea which card is best to apply for. Any advice on how to pick which credit card I should apply for?
Well, I'm going to I'm going to go back to my default, and that is when we talked about bank accounts, I'm pretty sure I suggested get a bank account at a credit union because you are an owner of the credit union. They're more on your side than any of these credit card companies. And the credit union will have a credit card that you can use. And it'll be maybe just a little kinder, friendlier credit card. That's where I would start. Wherever your bank, wherever your credit union is, get their credit card. That's to me the best way. Once you learn how to use them and everything's working well, because people go, wow, you're not getting miles, you're not getting that. Well, if you're getting miles, you're paying an annual payment for that credit card usually.
I was gonna say, do not get a credit card with an annual payment. And there's no real, at least early on.
Right, early on, there's no reason.
You're not gonna
So
spend it.
get it, go to your credit union where you have your bank account. In fact, when you open your bank account, they'll probably want to give you a credit card. Everybody wants you to have a credit card, and so that will, to me, that's the best place.
Well, thank you guys. Frank, that was very interesting stuff and useful information. And Desiree, good luck with your new card, wherever you get it from. Next episode, I hear you're going to reveal some very interesting insider secrets for anyone who truly wants a successful financial future. So for you listening out there, I really recommend you do not miss this one. You're going to find out stuff that can really help you, your journey to financial success. I'm not allowed to say any more at the moment, but trust me on this one. And anyway, thanks for listening. And if you want to learn more, you can check out other episodes at our YouTube channel at The McEnulty Method or wherever you're listening to this podcast. See you next time on The McEnulty Method.